Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
When people used to sleepwalk back into the day, they would get into a trance state as soon as the full moon would come out. They would close their eyes and they would walk towards the full moon. They might climb a building, they might be on a ladder, they might do all kinds of things to get to the moon because of the energy and the frequency that was coming off of the moon. So when you get into sleepwalking, what Carl von Reichenbach learned was when a person was put in pitch black darkness, they wouldn't sleepwalk anymore. And think about today. Do we ever hear about people sleepwalking anymore? Not really. We don't hear any stories about sleepwalking anymore because the frequencies of the light bulbs, the LEDs, the dimming of the sun, all of these things, they're changing the frequency and the wavelengths in which are coming down from us from the sun and from the moon.
I'm not sure what to think about this one. What he's saying makes sense, but there's clearly still people sleepwalking today. There are people who have made an entire career out of posting their sleepwalking videos on TikTok. I just feel like if they knew for a fact that sleeping in darkness would eradicate sleepwalking, then it wouldn't even exist anymore. That would be common knowledge, and no one would sleepwalk.
Antarctica may have been way more advanced in the past than we thought.
I find most striking is the presence of Antarctica on ancient maps, because we didn't discover it until 1820, and yet it's on maps drawn in the 1500s with great detail, which again were based on much older source maps that have now been lost to us. The astonishing thing is that the so-called Pinkerton world map, it just shows a hole where Antarctica is. A Wolsey-Willer world map drawn in 1530 or thereabouts, you find Antarctica is present. Gerontius Phineas map. That map shows Antarctica exactly where it should be. There's Antarctica at the tip of America, just south of South Africa.
And what did they call it back then?
Well, they call it the Southern Land. And it's larger than it is today, but it was larger than it is today during the Ice Age. Antarctica was a much bigger. Now, what the is it doing on a map drawn in the 1500s, which we know was based on older source maps when nobody knew it existed in the 1500s? To me, the obvious answer is we are dealing with the fingerprints of a lost civilization.
100%. I don't think you could look at it any other way. This has to be an example of lost knowledge. And if we lost the knowledge of an entire continent's existence and then rediscovered it hundreds of years later, what other information did we lose about Antarctica? There could have been an entire civilization there for all we know. Yet somehow we completely forgot that the continent even existed. Pretty mind-blowing.
All right, here's a quick tip. You know those paper straws that are really good for the environment? Well, the glue that holds it together is extremely toxic.
Just give me a second.
A few moments later.
Oh my God, people, he was right. Studies show that 90% of paper straws contain a chemical called PFAS, also known as forever chemicals. And this chemical has been linked to high cholesterol, thyroid disease, reduced immune response, and certain cancers.
Add that to the massive list of reasons to stay out of California. Let's save the environment by killing off all of our citizens. They say they're saving the environment for our benefit, for the sake of humanity. But if that were true, they wouldn't be actively harming humanity in an effort to save the planet.
It's called the Wall of Benin, and it was like the world's largest structure.
It's the Guinness Book of World Records, world's largest man-made structure by length.
And it was in Nigeria. It was the capital city, but they made interconnecting walls that stretched over 10,000 miles. It was 10,000 miles worth of walls that were like interconnected, and it was all man-made, but the British destroyed it in 1897 when they were colonizing it. But that's enough wall to circle the United States 3 times.
It says 4 times longer than the Great Wall of China.
How have I never heard of that?
That's what I'm saying. Even the people of Nigeria, like now, they don't even know about it. So like people are trying to like discover more about it to teach them of their ancient culture and stuff.
They started in 800 AD.
Okay, yeah, that.
And continued until 1460 AD.
Yeah, they said it took 150 million man hours to build. 150 million man hours.
Very little remains today. How is that possible?
Because the British destroyed it.
All of it.
Imperialism.
Yeah. Wow, dude. Is that not insane?
That's crazy.
Yeah, never heard of it before.
I just thought this was really cool. I've never heard of this before either. I wonder how this thing was constructed. Like, would it be something that would still be standing today had the British not destroyed it? I'm assuming so, with as long as they were working on it. So it would stand to reason that they were likely using some advanced ancient building techniques. This very well could have held the clue that we needed to piece together how the pyramids were built had it not been demolished.
The Soviets once hid a wiretap in the U.S. coat of arms as a gift to the U.S. ambassador, and the high-security detectors didn't find anything unusual. The Americans left it hanging in the embassy for 7 years without anyone finding it. Everything the American ambassador said in front of him was overheard by the Soviets. From this simple set of parts, you can see how special it is. It doesn't need electricity to work. The principle is that the sound will cause the air to vibrate. The vibrations are transmitted to the membrane inside the wiretap. On the other hand, the Soviet KGB is transmitting microwave pulses to the wire within 300 meters of the embassy. The reflected waveforms, amplitudes, and frequencies are changed by the vibrations in the membrane. After being translated and decoded by the instrument, it was finally possible to reconstruct what the Americans were saying. During the 7 years of eavesdropping on the U.S., the Soviets sent 4 U.S. ambassadors away with this device. Each ambassador had his office redecorated when he took office. This emblem was the only one that meant something different, so no one ever took it off. When the British bugged the Soviet Union, they heard the American ambassador's voice and rushed to inform the Americans. After many searches, experts finally zeroed in on this coat of arms. But the moment the cover was removed, everyone was confused. It's a tiny little thing with no wires or batteries. How did it work? The Americans couldn't figure out how it worked until they sent it to a top laboratory in England, where it took 2 years to discover the secret. And this technology is still widely used today, for example, bus and subway cards.
I find it fascinating to see how they spied on each other in the old days. With the advancement of technology in recent years, I feel like every room you go into nowadays is bugged with some type of device, and you likely place the device there yourself. I have a question though. How in the world is this technology being used in bus and subway cards? Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I post a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
Your pineal likes the sun as much as your dog likes peanut butter. Certain acoustic vibrations, holistic breathing patterns, yogi practices cause the pineal gland to release DMT, creating a shortcut to the other side. Pineal eye function sees inwardly, thus outwardly. One of the activities that helps regulate all of the above pineal functions is sun gazing. The sun seems to also reduce the inevitable enemy of your pineal, calcification. The pineal gland will develop what are called calcium spots that weaken its ability to do what it does. The #1 cause of pineal calcification is aging. And it's no wonder that children are so much closer to source and have such vivid imaginations.
So aging causes your pineal gland to calcify, and it's theorized that that's why they fluoridated our drinking water, was to assist in the calcification of our pineal glands. If sun gazing can actually decalcify your pineal gland and bring back your ability to interact with the spirit plane, then this is absolutely information worth spreading. I don't know if this is true or not, but I have heard that sun gazing can be good for the eyes, give you more energy, better sleep because it resets the circadian rhythm, and gives you lower stress. So it absolutely wouldn't hurt anything to give it a try.
Are you saying that they were keeping these anomalous species in containment and you released them?
Joe, when I tell you I'd sifted through hundreds of these different encounter stories, dozens of mission documents under Operation Blue Moon, dealing with the extinction and extraction of these anomalous species. These agencies had been hunting them down for generations, bringing them to special containment centers for species preservation. And as I sift through hundreds of these encounter documents, I find the coordinates of an anomalous species containment facility labeled Pandora's Box, which had been holding hundreds of these different anomalous species that had been tracked over the years. And while
And you went to the facility?
Joe, I just needed to see it for myself.
I only threw this in here because I wanted to know if any of you have actually seen this in a Joe Rogan episode before. I have a feeling this is faked AI audio. The audio doesn't appear to sync up with the video at the beginning, and that's usually a dead giveaway. But I'm pretty sure that that's Randall Carlson's voice in that clip, and I've heard him on Rogan's podcast before talking about very similar things. So this is very believable if it is faked. If any of you know if this is a real episode and can tell me which episode it is, I would be greatly appreciative. However, I am convinced at this point that it's just AI.
All UK citizens must be ready to fight. Yep, Labour are doing another U-turn just like I said in this video 2 weeks ago. A recent report has just been issued, a damning report which does suggest that the British Army is inadequate in all fronts across the military. And the House of Lords Committee has now warned that all UK civilians must be prepared and ready to fight. the f is this going? Like I said in the video 2 weeks ago, it was rumoured that Labour, there was speculation flying around that they were looking to implement a National Service Act. They were going to put this down to the ever-growing threat from Russia. More fuel has now been added to that rumour, as they are now saying, the House of Lords Committee is now saying that UK civilians must be prepared to fight. Like I said before, I predict after the budget on the 30th of October, there will be more information released about what the Labour Party plan to do about national service, Russia and the UK military. Keep up to date, follow me and all that malarkey for sake.
It appears that every country right now is seeming to have difficulty filling the ranks of the military. The world's waking up and realizing that all these wars are just being fought for money and control over resources, and nobody wants to join up anymore. I wonder why. When the powers that be have to start forcing people to fight in their wars, I would say that's a pretty good indication that the people are no longer buying into their lies and manipulations. The machine is beginning to crumble.
A town in Massachusetts is suing the FCC because they say a cell phone tower in their neighborhood is making them sick. They lost their case at a Verizon tower, went up in 2020, and they all started to get sick and have been getting sick ever since. So they sued to get the tower removed. A judge has asked the FCC, how do you decide what towers go up where? How do you decide what is a safe radiation limit for these towns and cities? And they can ignore it. They're allowed to.
I'm still on the fence about 5G cell phone towers causing people to get sick, simply because I haven't heard anyone talking about it except for people who are so crazy in their delivery that you're almost embarrassed to agree with them on anything. However, if this entire town is suddenly saying that they've gotten sick after the installation of this 5G cell tower, and there's no other common denominator, I would say that's strong enough evidence that at the very least we need to look into this.
They still have running water on Mars. They've found a 12-hectare lake. They did a press release on mainstream news where they showed water running down the side of a mountain on Mars. They said that the soil on Mars is better for growing crops than the soil on Earth now. They are really, prepping us that they're going to be moving to Mars. A breakaway civilization will be created on Mars. We're the new Anunnaki.
So what happened to it? Because it must have been thriving at one point.
A couple things happened to Mars. Mars has a crazy story. The first thing is, Mars was not a planet. Mars only recently became a planet. It was a habitable moon that orbited a planet which is now the asteroid belt. So the asteroid belt, if you put those pieces back together, that actually was a planet named Tiamat. In the ancient tablets, in the Enuma Elish, in the 7 tablets of creation, you discover that in the coalescing of our solar system in that process, there was either a moon of another planet that crashed into Tiamat and broke it into pieces, or as a state, it was a war that was going on in this sector of our solar system. And it's not clear whether it's just metaphorical war or if it really is just this collision of moons and planets. But either way, it was destroyed. Now, when it blew up, huge chunks of it hit Mars. One side of Mars is charred, the other side is the smoothest surface in the solar system.
I'm still not convinced that we're going to have people living on Mars in my lifetime. With all the misinformation they've given us over the years, it's hard to know what to think. First, we were told that Mars was uninhabitable. Now we're told that it has better conditions for supporting life in some regards than Earth does. Sure, it could be that they're working on new information, but with all the lies that NASA's given us, I can't help but feel like all these new details are just more manipulations designed to get us to buy another lie.
In the rapidly advancing field of technology, one of the most intriguing developments is the concept of smart dust. Smart dust refers to tiny microelectromechanical systems, mimes, that function like sensors, robots, or other devices. These minuscule devices are capable of detecting environmental conditions such as light, temperature, vibration, and chemicals. What makes smart dust truly remarkable is its ability to be dispersed, like dust particles, allowing for unprecedented levels of data collection and environmental monitoring. Originally envisioned in the 1990s, smart dust technology has evolved significantly thanks to advancements in nanotechnology and wireless communication. Each smart dust particle, which is often referred to as a mote, is equipped with sensors, computing circuits, wireless communication, capabilities, and a power supply. These motes can be as small as a grain of sand and can communicate with each other while transmitting data to a central system, forming a network of distributed sensors. The applications of smart dust are truly exciting and have the potential to revolutionize various fields. In agriculture, farmers can utilize smart dust to monitor soil conditions, moisture levels, and crop health in real time. This allows for more efficient and sustainable farming practices. In manufacturing and industrial settings, smart dust can monitor equipment health, predict maintenance needs, and enhance safety by detecting hazardous conditions early on. Scientists can also disperse smart dust in remote or hard-to-reach areas to collect valuable data on pollution levels, weather patterns, and wildlife habitats, aiding in conservation efforts. Moreover, in medical settings, smart dust could monitor patient vitals or deliver targeted therapies within the body, opening up new frontiers in personalized medicine. However, there are significant hurdles to overcome in powering these tiny devices. Developing efficient energy sources or harvesting methods, such as solar or kinetic energy, is essential for prolonged operation. Additionally, the vast amounts of data being collected and transmitted wirelessly raise concerns about data interception and unauthorized access. The deployment of smart dust raises ethical questions about surveillance and consent, especially if used in public spaces without individuals' knowledge. Furthermore, the long-term environmental effects of dispersing large quantities of microscale devices are not yet fully understood. As research progresses, smart dust holds the potential to revolutionize the way we interact with the environment and collect data. It will be crucial for technologists, policymakers, and ethicists to collaborate and address these challenges. This collaboration is essential to ensure that smart dust technology develops in a way that is beneficial and respectful of societal values. In conclusion, smart dust represents a remarkable convergence of nanotechnology, wireless communication, and sensor technology. While it holds the promise of transforming industries and improving lives, it also poses significant challenges that need to be thoughtfully addressed. Balancing innovation with ethical considerations will be key to harnessing the full potential of smart dust in a responsible manner.
They say that the biggest issue with smart dust is a power source, but we all know that the government has access to free energy devices and other technologies that we don't have access to. I'm certain they've already figured that problem out, and I cannot help but feel like we're looking at the future of surveillance. This stuff is so small, they'll just be able to coat your entire property with it and watch every move you make, and there'll be nothing you can do about it. This is by far one of the scariest technologies they're working on, in my opinion.
Diddy offered $50 million to be released on bail, and he was just denied. He even said that he wouldn't have any female visitors. Now he's going back to this place. It is known as Hell on Earth. This is Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. Now this is where it kind of gets intense, because former wardens are saying that his life could be in danger here behind bars because of his celebrity status, and the allegations against him are shocking. Talking about trafficking, racketeering, freak-offs, which are just wild day-long parties. And during a recent raid, they seized 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Even that he was being delivered cash and IVs to pay the workers and help them recover. As this story develops, it's just getting more disturbing, so stay tuned for more updates as they come.
This might sound a little harsh, but I feel like once he goes through his trial and we find out what he's actually guilty of, they should put him in general population with those other prisoners and let him pay the consequences for his actions. Just because he's well known doesn't mean he should get special treatment. If he didn't want to worry about getting attacked in prison, he shouldn't have been doing all this crazy crap to get thrown in there in the first place.
There are different levels of consciousness, and this is taught to us through the mystics in like the theory of reincarnation, or the belief of reincarnation, I should say. I read a book, and it was written by A.C. Bhaktivedanta, and he states that reincarnation isn't a good thing. You know, a lot of people think that reincarnation is like this like cool like belief system, like yes, I'm going to reincarnate one day. But if you listen to the actual yogis and gurus and stuff, it's not a good thing. You don't want to be stuck in samsara. It's a bad thing to continually come back, because the goal of the human being, the goal of the human soul, is to elevate out of this, to go to the next step. If you can believe it or not, there's actually another level of conscious living. And so there's different kingdoms of consciousness, he says. There's the plant consciousness, the animal consciousness, and the human consciousness. Actually, there was a study last year, I think, that came out that mushrooms, for example, certain mushrooms have a language. They speak up to like 50 words. And it does have consciousness, but it's different levels of consciousness. And reincarnation teaches us that we have the privilege of having the highest form of consciousness on this kingdom of earth, but there is higher consciousness. And all that means is when you gain a higher consciousness, all that means is that your awareness expands.
From everything that I've read on reincarnation, and I've read a lot, I really think this guy is completely correct. If reincarnation is real, every single past life regression therapy session that I've ever listened to or read about, they always emphasize the importance of trying to grow spiritually and move on to a higher dimension or the next plane and not reincarnate. That's not your goal, is to reincarnate, because then you're stagnant in your growth. It's just so difficult to wrap your head around something like reincarnation. It's something that has an overwhelming amount of evidence, but absolutely zero proof.
Is the question. What is a shadow government? I'm gonna give a short answer as to the shadow government is the actual government that gives official orders to the elected government. I understand this could be hard to believe for some individuals, but the way it works, at least what I was able to witness for the past 20 years, is an extremely powerful entity behind the scene, and quite an entity. It does involve very influential individuals at the highest rank possible in finance as well as in politics. There are some heads of state behind the scene, indeed, and altogether 38 individuals run the daily lives of 8 billion people on Earth. Maria, the shadow government, is the entity that is behind most, if not all, elected government that tell them what to do and what not to do based upon geopolitical agreements, most of them anchored in military abroad interventions. That's what the shadow government is. And I can tell you today that the Biden administration is under the control of the shadow government. I can confirm this without any hesitation based upon the information that I have.
I would say, based on the way that the entire world seems to be circling the drain, and every Western government seems to be moving in lockstep to inch us closer and closer to World War III, the only way any of this makes sense is if they're all being controlled by a shadow government. But whatever their plan is, it seems to be blowing up in their face. Everything is falling apart, and the people are waking up.
I don't know if any of you guys got this in the mail, but I got this today. Selective Service System. I guess, guys, we're going to war. Failure to comply with these requirements is a violation of the Military Selective Service Act. The maximum penalty for a violation of this act is $250,000 fine or 5 years in prison or both. Damn. That's wild. That's wild. Even give me another one, too.
I freaked out at first whenever I saw this, I'm not going to lie. But if you pause it and read the paper he's looking at, it simply reads like this guy is being asked by Selective Service to update his information, like his home address and whatnot. I don't think this is him getting called to war. And the date of the letter is dated July 15th, 2024. If that would have actually went out to this gentleman in July of this year, we would have heard about it. He wouldn't have been the only person getting it. We'd be seeing videos like this all over the internet, and it would be all over the news.
But we got you. We got you. 911, they're coming. You're good. You're good. Man, it's a situation. We will get back to you in a little bit. I'm gonna go see if I can help this lady out a little bit more, you guys. I'll be back.
All right, Bob. So there's Bob Van Dillen. We were with Bob just a little while ago, and he said, hold on, I'm going to go help that lady in that car. And
there's our good clip for the day, everybody. I just thought that was cool. I remember when I was a kid, you would see stories of heroism on the news all the time. And now when someone's in trouble, all anybody ever does is pull out their phone and start recording them. This is becoming so rare to see an actual, genuine act of heroism. I just had to share this. I had to highlight it. Good on that guy. He should be very proud of himself. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out www.barry-stepp.com if you'd like to order yourself a shirt or a hat. I've got some new hoodies out, and I've also got a Let's Get After It hat coming soon. It should be on the website within the week. Also, don't forget to post your photos of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.